On Together with Karen Leigh today, she's a woman who knows a thing or two about overcoming adversity. This burn victim threw out the first pitch at a Rockies game this week. Jamie Ketchum says she's not the hero of this story.
I feel like you're my heroes because you saved me. You saved me going to the hospital.
That's the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
And if you didn't get me there, I wouldn't be.
Oh my God, I need another hug.
Thank you.
Well, you can't help but be inspired by Jamie's story. She touches everyone she meets, including professional athletes. You're going to see a little bit of that coming up in a minute. But it's stories like hers that we celebrate every week here on Together. Stories of people who take their pain and their suffering and they do something positive with it. There are good forces in this world around us, and you can't keep them down. Jamie Ketchum is one of those people, and I hope you enjoy hearing from her as much as we do. Out to the ballpark we go. That's Jamie's favorite player there, Ian Desmond, right there as she fulfilled a dream of throwing out the first pitch of the game. But if it's not baseball, it's golfing. Jamie's spirit is unmatchable. Kathy Walsh shares the story of this woman determined to help other burn survivors and anyone else who is having a tough time.
On a beautiful day in a stunning setting, golfers play the course for a cause. This tournament at Arrowhead supports burn survivors. This year, the field includes the UC Health Burn Center's #1 fan.
They saved my life. They saved Mom's life. I feel forever grateful.
2 years ago, May 25th, Jamie Ketchum's father died in this fiery crash on I-25. Her mother was badly burned. Jamie's burns covered 95% of her body, the center's worst case ever. She lost an arm and both legs.
I feel like the world isn't built for somebody without legs and an arm, but I feel like we're finding ways to make it work for us.
This day, Jamie's found a sweet ride, an adaptive golf cart that allows her to stand up and play. A club is fastened to her arm. She's putting for teams on the 18th green.
Yes! There it is! Yay! Beautiful.
The golf is great, but today is also about gratitude.
I need another hug.
Thank you.
For the first time, Jamie meets the Denver paramedics who rushed her to the hospital.
I didn't expect her to survive.
She's amazing. Like, I just feel happier just standing here after meeting her.
Jamie calls Angela Rice and Paul Kassler her heroes.
The real heroes are the people that took care of her for over 400 days and got her to this point.
Not just surviving, but thriving.
Makes you want to stand up for her, doesn't it? Well, Jamie says maybe the most important thing that she has learned in the past 2 years is that there is nothing better than being alive. So she says whatever you're going through, believe that it will get better, and it will. We want to talk a little bit about volunteering because we know it's an important part of building community. That is why CBS4 is behind Day of Service. We partner with Xcel Energy to recruit 4,000 people to volunteer on September 7th at projects set up at dozens of nonprofits, showing you some of that video right here. With all of these hands working together, we were able to get a lot done across the state. With me today to talk more about this is Laura Roberts, who leads the volunteer team at Colorado Feeding Kids. And Laura, we appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, Day of Service. It's awesome, isn't it?
It's amazing. Just, you said the number 4,000 people, and I think it's over 80 projects. It's an amazing day to have that much impact in such little time.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the organization and the effort that you lead that day. Colorado Feeding Kids, what is that and what is it about?
Yeah, their mission is to help kids not be hungry in Colorado. You know, kids have a hard time focusing in school when they've got that stomach grumbling or when they're trying to figure out where their next meal is going to come from. So Colorado Feeding Kids is a great organization that provides meals to churches or schools or homeless shelters so that they can provide that food to those kids throughout the school year.
How do you feel being a part of this?
I absolutely love it. You know, walking in on that day and seeing, you know, my project has 700 volunteers.
Oh my gosh.
You see the sea of 700 people just giving back to the community. It's amazing. I mean, we have people from this school. There's Century Middle School, Go Comets, that hosts all 700 of us. They have a great location that just can host that many people. We have Excel Energy employees like myself who are there on the day, and then we have a bunch of community members who are there to just give back their time and really make an impact.
You think it makes a difference to the kids?
Absolutely. I mean, I get hungry, right?
Right.
And that's just between meals. I can't even imagine not having a meal for 24 hours and having to deal with that stress, and that really takes away from being a kid.
Yeah, so many different things to choose from. And of course, now is the time to register, right? So get online, sign up, and you can sign up for Laura's project or any of the gazillion that are on there. You'll find one for you for sure. So thank you for being with us. We appreciate it. Day of service, a perfect way for you to see the power of people when they join forces. Communities can be changed for the better. Mackenzie O'Keefe with more on that.
Every morning, David Summerfield takes inventory at the Goodwill in Aurora.
No complaints.
He's a store manager, but his journey to this position wasn't easy.
My story is a little bit rough. I struggled with alcoholism.
Wanting to make a change, David got a job at Goodwill, where he heard about their employee assistance program.
They were able to help me out on my deposit for getting an apartment, my very first apartment. So it was really exciting to, you know, finally have a place of my own, a place to call home.
From that moment on, his life was changed. He was back up on his feet with a goal to help others.
I was, you know, over the moon. It was something that I never experienced before.
Now that Goodwill Industry Denver has merged with Discover Goodwill of Southern and Western Colorado, it means the separate companies will now work as one, covering 64 counties across the state. The combined resources mean they can serve even more people.
Last year, we served more than 100,000 people in need across the state. And now that we're officially together, we hope to expand that even further.
Not only to help customers afford the things they need.
Remember old people, military people. I ain't gonna cry, but I mean.
But also people in our community by hiring and helping them to get back up on their feet.
I do think it changed my life.
Changing lives. Well, some people are not too comfortable with growth in their cities or their neighborhoods, but that growth is something that we just can't ignore. Our communities, they're changing. Mikaela White found artists creating space for real, candid conversations.
In college, we rented this house on 32nd and Zunai for $450 a month.
Now you can't even touch a rental anywhere around here for less than $2 grand.
It's a theater telling stories from its neighborhood, a neighborhood some say is changing too quickly.
It's personal to me because I live in the neighborhood. I've seen the old houses disappear.
How turning life into art is opening a dialogue about the future.
And this place is going to be here after I'm long gone.
That's ahead on Together.
And well, no question the great outdoors brings Colorado together, especially when it comes to our wildlife. Karen Morfitt shares with us how plenty of you are always willing to help a fine feathered friend in need.
From moose to deer to fish to birds, Colorado loves wildlife, but sometimes it can be overwhelming caring for it.
You are busy. It's like a cycle.
And sometimes you need a little extra help.
What we'd rather do is just find more volunteers.
The plea for help from a nonprofit helping our feathered friends coming up on Together.
Well, this is a great time of year for kids to try all sorts of new things. And for some adults, it also means a chance to share new opportunities. Summertime is adventure time, and for kids in Westminster, it's a chance to reach for the stars.
I like that there's all different kinds of planets.
How a nonprofit and library teamed up to get kids excited about space. That's next on Together.
Together with Karen Leigh, sponsored by Canvas Credit Union. We're Canvas, and we've got you covered, Colorado. Go live.
I love those things. Well, did you know that a family business in Loveland is a big part of the 50th anniversary celebration of the Apollo mission? Mark Lundeen was 10 years old when Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. Well, now he, his brother George, and his friend Joey Boehner spent 3.5 months creating glimmering bronze sculptures for the Moon Garden at the Kennedy Space Center, where the Apollo legacy began. Those are just incredible. So thank you for sharing those. Dave Aguilera joining us today. And Dave, we are in the midst of celebrating the 50th anniversary of our moon landing.
What a week. It's been an exciting week for the space program. And if you haven't heard about the 50th Apollo anniversary, you've been under a rock, I think. Man, what an exciting time. And now a library in Westminster is figuring out what it's like to rekindle all that excitement just for kids. The College Hill Library has plenty of books about space on the shelves, but the hope is the real draw this summer is an exhibit that takes kids out on a journey that's out of this world. The nonprofit Space Science Institute in Boulder asked the library to host the exhibit. It's a chance for the kids to learn about the STEM and computing skills that keep us exploring.
Everything from robots, the computers and programming that go into them, all of our scientific findings about how gravity and electricity work.
It's this great community building where adults and children are working together on things and exploring coding, or children are working together to build these amazing structures.
And a lot of the exhibit is hands-on learning with a chance for the kids to do all sorts of creative projects like building their own solar system. And something interesting about this, Karen, they had already planned, the library had already planned that their summer reading program was going to be about space. And then lo and behold, along came the exhibit and it all just fit in just right for the kids.
That's incredible. You probably loved all that stuff when you were a kid, too.
Oh, yes. Space and thunderstorms, my favorite things.
The two things tied together. Dave, thanks.
And puppies once in a while,
Thanks for sharing that with us. And we want you to share your summer adventures with us as well. We want to see those photos, so send them in. I will use them right here on the show. You can email them at togetherforcolorado@cbs.com. You can also post it on social media using the hashtag #4Colorado. And you can always email me directly at kleigh@cbs.com. Well, art is meant to make you feel something. That's the desire of one nationally acclaimed theater in Denver. How it's getting people talking about changing neighborhoods. Coming up on this week's Together for Colorado calendar, Tuesday is a chance to enjoy the Russian Masters. The Colorado Music Festival in the auditorium at Chautauqua Park turns into chamber music for the evening. On Wednesday, Inglewood wants to have a conversation about homelessness and other social issues over coffee. And then over the weekend, it is the Cheeseman Park Art Festival. Great way to shop for art while enjoying one of Denver's favorite parks. You can find out more about these events by visiting the Together for Colorado section of CBSDenver.com. Well, nothing brings Colorado together quite like cheering on the Denver Broncos. Well, before the team headed back into training camp, our favorite running back paid it forward for his elementary school. Philip Lindsay hosted a free camp for boys and girls at E.V. Garrett Dennis campus. That's the neighborhood where Philip grew up. He shared with us that he has always wanted to host a camp just like this.
I wanted to host a free camp here in my neighborhood because I feel like it's important to give back to these kids. I was in their shoes, and for a lot of these kids, they don't have the money to just go out here and do these camps.
Philip says the real success of this camp all comes down to seeing the kids smile and having a good time with each other. Well, people sharing stories of their neighborhoods is a good way to build better communities. But sometimes those conversations can be tough, especially when they hold different points of view. Mikaela White takes us to a theater that's tackling the issues through art.
Parking spots have been invaded by SUVs. And soon, I might have to drive to get Mexican food.
Night after night in Su Teatro, this cast proudly makes its voice heard.
We're proud of it because it's a culmination of a lot of things that the teatro has been doing for the last 47 years.
And with their newest smash hit play, Northside, they're tackling topics in the community they say need to be brought to light.
The play itself deals with the gentrification that went on and is going on in the north side of Denver.
People are coming in and changing it to what they want and letting go or getting rid of some of the things that we remember as the north side.
It's also a love story told through the eyes of 3 different couples. The goal is to create space to have conversations about Denver's changing landscape.
Knowing that it was going to be really funny for some people and it was going to be nostalgic for some people and it was going to be uncomfortable for some people, and that's okay.
And through all this, actors here hope to leave a lasting impact.
People around here call me the veterano, the veteran, but you know, I just feel humbled by the fact that, you know, all these young people are involved in this now, and there's going to be another generation of, and this place is going to be here, you know, after I'm long gone.
Yeah, the legacy lives on. Sue Teatro promises to keep asking the tough questions so that neighbors keep those conversations going. Well, having and keeping healthy rivers isn't an afterthought. It only happens thanks to endless hours from our parks and wildlife volunteers. We're going to show you some of the pretty incredible work they're doing. Well, you can find more information on all of the Together for Colorado stories featured in today's show by visiting our website, cbsdenver.com. It's no secret we love our wildlife, no matter if they come with fur, scales, or feathers. In Wheat Ridge, a group of volunteers come together to help birds that are in trouble. Karen Leigh takes us inside this rehab center, helping our fine-feathered friends.
With nearly 200 birds in their care, there's little time for the small staff at Wild Bird Rescue and Rehab to take a breath, let alone a break.
You are busy. It's like a cycle, and doing dishes and laundry and answering the phone and coming over here and feeding the 30 minutes and then going into ICU, and it's like you have to be on it.
Right now, they're getting the job done, but Executive Director Carmen Richka says better weather means more people bringing in injured and abandoned birds.
Be anywhere between 5 birds to 20 birds in a day.
More birds means that to-do list gets longer.
Right here we have some little sparrows. They're being fed every single hour.
And the need for extra hands grows.
Instead of having to close our doors and close intakes, what we'd rather do is just find more volunteers.
The nonprofit says their volunteers are essential, but can be tough to find. Skylar Myers has been with the group for about a month and lends a hand wherever he's needed.
Just trying to get through and get them a good amount of food in each of them.
He's working toward a vet career, but he says for anyone with time to spare, it's time well spent.
It's rewarding. It's really nice, like being able to go through and be like, cool, yeah, we helped.
Sure did. Wheat Ridge, we know, is a pretty easy location for anyone wanting to help our wildlife, easy to get to. But other volunteer teams up with Colorado Parks and Wildlife to help make sure that we have healthy animals everywhere. This week, that meant a trip towards Grays Peak in Clear Creek County to deliver some fish. But these aren't just any fish. Those volunteers carried up greenback cutthroat trout, put them into Dry Gulch, which feeds into Clear Creek. That one day alone, almost 800 fish joined the effort to restock those waterways. We also embrace our history here in Colorado, celebrating our cowboy and ranching history with rodeo events all over the state pretty much all year long. Shannon Lukens from Steamboat Springs shared these pictures of their rodeo with us, focusing on some of the youngest competitors and audience members. What's really great about this rodeo is that it brings Steamboat together every Friday and Saturday nights now through the middle of August. Well, we would love to see how people are coming together where you live, so connect with us. Post your pictures on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram using the hashtag #4Colorado. Thank you for joining us on Together. I look forward to seeing you next week as we have more powerful stories of how people are coming together, making changes for the better for Colorado. Until then, we leave you with a taste of the Wild West, the cattle drive that kicks off Cheyenne Frontier Days. So much fun, round 'em up.